Hey everybody, what's up? My name is Gabe and this is Games with Gabe. If you recall from the last tutorial, what we got to was having the state manager that can switch the states when you press the play button. And we're going to implement the exit button now, and we also added in the sprites to make it a little bit nicer. Today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be cleaning up that state manager a little bit because there's some things that are wrong with it. And then we're also going to be implementing this exit button. So first of all, you'll notice that when I got to this part, I said, oh, we'll just save this for the next video. The reason is because as we were making more and more methods static, I wasn't liking it. This isn't a good programming pattern, and we should really avoid making things static unless it's a completely static class. And so what we're going to do is we're going to change this to something called a singleton, which is a programming pattern, which means you just want a object that there's only ever going to be one of. We're only ever going to have one window. But you also want that object to be accessible from anywhere within the program. So we want this to be a global window that any object can get and that any object can call methods on. So in order to do that, it's actually pretty simple. What we'll do is we'll just say public static window get window. And this will be the only static method in our window class. And what this will do is it will return a window that we can use from anywhere in the game, and that will be the window that is being used as the window for the game screen. So we'll initialize up here, we'll say a public static window. We'll just call this window and we'll initialize this to null. That way in here we can say if the window.window is null, we need to create a new window. So say window.window equals, and got to spell that right, new window. And then we need to do constants dot screen width, constants dot screen height, and constants dot screen title. Then down here we can simply say return window dot window. All this is going to do is it's going to make it so that when we first get the window, which would be in this main class, instead of doing this, we'll say window equals window dot get window, and we're never going to actually create the window other than inside this function. That way every method that calls it will first check to see if it's null, which it shouldn't be null since we just called it here and it created a new one. And then if it's not null, it will just return whatever the current window is, which should be this guy right here. So this will make it so that we can call this method from anywhere in the code, and then we can simply call the other methods like these without making them static. So next what we're going to do is we're going to remove the static modifiers on all these variables because these don't need to be static anymore. And that's great because it will make it a little bit easier to do these things. So we'll remove the static modifiers from all these. We'll change this from being a static method to just being a method. And then we'll remove the window class from all of these variables because these are now inherent in the class. And then you'll see how this will make it easier when we go to close it too, because it will just be a lot simpler. Okay. And so the window class is all cleaned up. Says we got an error right here. Let's see, window.changeState. So this is no longer a static method. We can just say change state. Window class is all good. Let's go back to our menu class because that was calling some, yep, see, so now this says window.changeState, and it's really simple. Instead of doing this, we'll just say window.getWindow.changeState. And then see, it works perfectly fine. And so what this is doing is it's just changing the state on the actual object instead of calling a static method called change state. So this just makes it so that it's still a global variable, but it's wrapped up in this nice little singleton pattern, which means that there's only ever going to be one. Since the only place we ever create a window is in here, it can never be created twice. So we will never have duplicates. And then this is also available to every single program in this entire software package. So just a good programming pattern in general. Now, to get on to the close method. So this is actually going to be a lot easier now because we can change this from being that to this, and then we can just say is running equals false. And so then we will go into the menu scene. And we wanted to say if they press the close exit button, then we want to say window.getWindow.close. And this should close the window. So this close will stop it from running. And then once we get down to here, we want to actually dispose of the window. So we'll say this dot dispose. and that will actually dispose of the window and close everything down, clean everything up, and we should be good. So if we run this, we should get this, and then if we hit exit, it closes the window, which is perfect. It's exactly what we want, and it's a little bit easier because you see if we had left everything static, then this would have had to become a static method, and then these would have all had to be static variables, and it just would have been very messy because then this class would suddenly be becoming a global class instead of what we want it to be, which is these methods should only be accessible from within the class, and then if another class needs some access to these methods, it should get it on the class itself. So just a better programming pattern in general. Now on to the next part. What are we going to be doing next? So we have this. We want to go play, and then we want there to be the snake screen. So we'll just implement some simple drawing patterns and stuff real quick that we can use for the setup of the game scene. So what we're going to do is we'll create a new, so we'll go into the game scene. We're going to want some rectangles in here. So we'll say rect, and then this will be the background, and then we'll need the foreground. So because we'll need the walls, and then we'll need the actual spot where the snake is going, okay? And then what we'll do here is we'll say public game scene, create our initializer, and then we'll say background equals a new rect, and we will give it, so 0, 0, and then width and height will be the width of the screen and the height of the screen, okay? And then for the foreground, I actually have some specific settings that we should use for that because we're going to need everything to be kind of in a grid-like pattern because Snake is a very grid-like game and we don't want to ruin that. So I have these right here. So then the foreground should be a new rectangle, and we will make this the width. Okay, so the X is going to be 24. The Y is going to be 48. The width is going to be 24 times 31. And then the height is going to be 24 times 22. So what this is going to give us is it's going to give us a grid of 31 columns and then 22 rows, all of width and height of 24. So if we make the snake body 24 by 24, then we should be within that grid every single time. Okay, and then let's just add a draw method for those. So instead of drawing it as blue, we'll say black, and then we'll go, instead of here, we'll just say background.x, background.y, background.width, and background.height. And then we will draw the foreground as well, and this is going to say it needs some integers, so we'll just change this to draw, and then we'll say new rect 2d dot double, rectangle 2d dot double, and then we'll fix this, and then it's going to say, okay, and then what we actually need to do is we need to cast this graphics object to a graphics 2D object so that we have the methods that we want. We'll say g2 equals graphics 2D g. We will import that, and then we should be able to say g2 dot set color and then g2 dot draw, and then we can use the shape right there. Okay, and so that should draw the rectangle and add on an extra parenthesis over there. And then we'll say g2 dot set color. This will be the foreground color, and we'll do it white for now. We might change it. And then we'll say g2 dot draw, new rectangle 2d dot double, and then we'll say foreground dot x, foreground dot y, foreground dot width, and foreground dot height. Cool. And so we should get like a little border and then a white inner rectangle when we hit play. And you'll see that we do. We're missing the colors. So let's see what's going on with that real quick. Okay, so what we need to do is we just need to change these draws to fills because we were just drawing the outlines, but we actually want to fill these rectangles. So then if we play this again, then we get the black border and we get the white background, which is perfect because then we can start drawing our snake game. Okay, so in the next tutorial, what we're going to do is we're actually going to implement the snake class itself. And so this will have the player controller, and then it will also have a method that makes the snake move sort of like a stop motion where it has a little bit of a pause before going one after the other. And then we'll also have to set up a simple data structure for the snake so that the snake always moves in the way that you expect it to, where it moves, the tail follows the same way, and it sort of lags along. You'll see what I mean once we get around to it. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Thanks.